back to database management. In this module, we will learn how to access our personal Atlas instance from our local MongoDB shell that we have installed on our computer. For this demonstration, I will be using Windows 10 Home, which presents an additional little challenge. Let's go! Hi everybody! Today I'm going to show you how to connect to your personal Atlas instance from the MongoDB shell that you have locally installed on your computer. First, we need to find our connection string. As you can see, I have already logged into my Atlas instance here. I'm going to call up my project by clicking on my project name now. Here I'm looking at the clusters in my project, and I'm seeing here my sandbox is running. That's what the green dot tells me here. And underneath I have these three buttons: Connect, Metrics, Collections, and then some other options here, such as editing the configuration, command line tools, and so on and so on. We are interested in the Connect button. So I'm going to click on Connect, and that launches the Connect to Sandbox options here. There are three options to connect to my sandbox. The first one is to connect with the Mongo shell, then connect with an application, and connect using MongoDB Compass. MongoDB Compass is a GUI that looks very similar to the Atlas Online GUI. But we're interested in the command line interface and in the raw code, so we are going to connect with the Mongo shell. I'm going to click that first option here, Connect with the Mongo shell. That launches the Connect to Sandbox dialog for the Mongo shell. And if you don't have the Mongo shell installed, you will be prompted to download that at this point. If you do have the Mongo shell installed, which is what I have, you get the connection string directly. The connection string is located in this gray box here. What we're seeing is the command Mongo, a space, and then in double quotes, the string that takes us to the MongoDB server, and then to the cluster that we're connecting to, which is my sandbox, and the cluster name here. And then we have the option to connect to a specific database if we keep that DB name. If we want to see all the databases, we can just eliminate that from our connection string. And then here we have our -- username, and then m001-student, which is what we're using in this class. And later on, we're going to add to that -- password, and then the password for the m001 student, because we don't really want to run the risk of fat fingering things here. So I'm going to copy that. All right, I've copied my string. So the next step will be to pull up a command line on Windows and launch my command as it is written here. So I'm going to type cmd, which brings up my command prompt option here, and I'm going to launch my command prompt. I have previously installed the Mongo shell. Based on the installation instructions, I have also added the path to the directory to my environment variable path. So now I'm going to do this. And what we're seeing here is that this command on Windows 10 Home Edition gives me an error saying Mongo is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program, or batch file. Now, this does look like a path problem. So let's troubleshoot this as a path problem. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type path in my search box. And I'm going to find the settings for my environment variables in my Windows 10 Home. As we're seeing here, we have the system properties, and we see here the environment variables right here on the Advanced tab. When I launch the environment variables, I'm seeing I have two sets here. One is for the user, and one's for the system. Now I know that I added my path to my MongoDB shell to my global path here to the system variables. So I'm going to verify that by clicking on Edit. And what we're seeing here is the path to the Mongo shell directory, which I have previously unzipped. So it looks like my environment variable is set correctly. Now let's verify if my Mongo shell executable actually exists in this directory. So I'm going here into my C drive here, to my program files x86, to my Mongo shell 050.132, right here, and we're seeing mongoshell.exe exists. So let's try this differently. Instead of using the Mongo shortcut for the executable, I'm going to use the full name for the executable, mongosh.exe, with the same connection string, and then with the username M001 student. And in fact, I'm going to attach the password here. And the password is M001 MongoDB-basics. And now we can see that Mongo shell is launching a session. It is connecting to the correct server here. And we're seeing our MongoDB version here and the Mongo shell that it is using. And you're seeing here as well that the prompt has changed. It's no longer a Windows prompt. It is, in fact, the Mongo shell prompt. In order to verify that I am, in fact, logged into my correct cluster, I'm going to now type show. And then I can type either show DBs or show databases. We're seeing here I have a sales DB, sample Airbnb, etc., 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 including admin and local. Now let's verify if these are the same databases that I have sitting in my Atlas instance when I look at it through my web browser. I'm going to close my connection string and I'm going to look at my collections. All right, so here are my collections, and we're seeing here my sales DB, which I have created myself, then my sample Airbnb, all the way down to my sample weather data. Let's compare these names, and we're seeing here these are indeed the same databases, so I am logged into the correct cluster, my sandbox. I can now check if I can access any of the collections that are inside of my database. So I'm going to take a look at my sample mflix database, and I'm seeing here I have 5 collections in there. So these same 5 collections should also show up from my command line. In order to access my sample_mflix database, I'm going to use the command use sample mflix, and then instead of show tables, because we don't have tables here, I'm going to type show collections. And we're seeing here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies, theaters, comments, sessions, and users. Very good. So now I've shown you how to find your personal connection string to your personal Atlas cluster and how to use that personal connection string in order to log in to your personal Atlas cluster from your local Mongo shell. We have also seen that this connection string has to be modified slightly in order to allow you to access Atlas through the Mongo shell on a Windows 10 Home Edition computer. The original Mongo shell command, namely just Mongo with the connection string, will work just fine on a Windows 10 Enterprise computer, however. So in order to exit the shell, all I have to do is type exit. Thank you for watching.